Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. We hope that you had a great trading week last week. We hope that you found our weekly game plan from last week helpful to you in your trading. Please let us know if you found our weekly game plan from last week helpful to you in the comments below. And please let us know how your trading went this week. Good or bad, what did you learn? How can we improve our weekly game plans to help you succeed in your trading? Now let's get started preparing our game plan for next week. Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. So let's start putting together our game plan for the trading week of October 11th through October 15th. And I'm on the home page. We'll start on the home page of FinViz, as we often do, and you can find an affiliate link for FinViz in the description box below. We can see how the markets ended up on Friday, October 8th. They were slightly down, primarily probably due to the unemployment, payroll, job creation numbers that were reported on Friday that were less than expected, generally disappointed. And one of the things that was discussed at length was, okay, what does that mean for the Fed's tapering decision, for interest rate hikes, etc.? And the consensus among most of the commentators on CNBC and Bloomberg seemed to be that this will not defer the Fed from starting their tapering in November. There is no October Fed meeting. Everyone pretty much expects the announcement of the start of tapering to begin in November and to go through the middle of next year, middle of 2022, which would be around June 2022. So we've got an exciting game plan. We will look at what does all this mean, what impact will that have for trading for next week. We do have some new stocks to add to our watch list, so we hope you'll watch this to the end and see the new stocks we're adding to the watch list, and also talk about some strategies for how to succeed, profit in what is expected to be the end of the downslope. Jim Cramer and Larry Williams expect October 18th or so, mid-October, to be the bottom of the market, and then hopefully we'll be swinging up through the end of October and into the end of the year, barring any disruption. So hopefully that's the case. We'll talk about how some strategies to play that long-term swing down, bottom, swing up through the end of the year. So again, just briefly, on the home page of FinViz, we see the markets are all down, more decliners in general, generally bearish sentiment. Again, the unemployment numbers were confusing and generally disappointing. You can see from the news, we're still talking about supply chain issues, and as we get towards the end of the year, we'll talk more about what that means for the holiday season, for Christmas, etc., and how to position potentially for that. I've got some theories, some ideas about how that may play out, but we'll see. We saw Treasury yields spiked up over 1.6, which again tends to impact growth stocks, the NASDAQ. We saw the NASDAQ decline a little more. We'll look at the indices in just a minute. And then talk about tapering. So you see all the markets are down. We're going to talk quite a bit about oil and the energy sector, because oil spiked up over 80. We'll talk about how we profited from that. We hope you did too. We saw nat gas, it spiked, it dipped. Looks like it may spike again. We'll talk about why or why not that might happen. So now let's just take a quick look at the indices and the market disposition at the end of next week and put our strategy and game plan together. Before we zoom in on the indices, I thought we'd look at the futures tab first, since it shows a higher level view of what we're going to see in the indices. So I'm on the futures tab in FinViz, and we can see all of the indices are pretty much kind of hovering in the middle. We had some chop up and down. Now they're kind of just again hovering in the middle. It's true for the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, and the Russell. If we look at oil, we'll see another peak, and it pushed back up. We see that on all of the oils. So it looks like another test of 80 is very probable. If it does break 80, theoretically it could go to 100. Theoretically, I expect a retest of 80, and then possibly maybe we'll get a retracement, and there's a good opportunity to profit from that. We could see the VIX finally settle down. Even with the poor jobs report, it declined on Friday. So right now the VIX seems to be retracing to its mean. So we'll see if it continues to drop. We see the spike in that gas, and then when Russia announced that they were going to open up their pipelines to possibly help Europe, we got that nice drop. We profited using cold, KOLD, to short natural gas. Made a nice profit on that retracement. Now it's kind of hovering. We'll see if we get another spike. If we do get another spike between 6 and 7, we'll again short nat gas using cold for a quick scalp, make some nice money. We're going to see in a number of factors that precious metals seems to be getting some attention again. We see a little bit of a spike in gold, silver. We're going to see there's some interest and inflows into platinum and palladium. And those seem to precede silver and gold in the past. We see a little uptick in copper as well. So hopefully precious metals will swing up. We see a number of the ag products are high. I have not been able to find an ETF to short cotton. I would have loved to have found that. There is one to long cotton, BAL, but with it as extended as it is, it'd be nice to be able to short that, which we can't do in a retirement account. You would have to do with individual stocks. So maybe that's going to, we see lumber also is up. Treasury prices are down, yields are up, and we kind of expect that trend to continue because Fed's going to taper, demand's going to reduce, and yields we expect to go up to match inflation over time. We see the dollar as well. It was running very high, and maybe a little bit of dip, and that tends to help commodities, oil, precious metals, etc. So next we'll look at where the indices are hovering and which direction we think they might go in the near future. Okay, if we look at the individual indices, zoom in a bit, we can see the SPY kind of bounced off the bottom of its, the trend line at the bottom of its channel, as we had discussed and kind of expected, and then it bounced back up. And now it's kind of hovering around its 20-day SMA, right in kind of the lower quarter of its channel, still below the 50 SMA. So again, very indecisive. I would expect, we're going to very potentially get some more chop. It may test to run up. It may test to run back down to retest that bottom channel. But again, I would expect a lot more chop, a lot more of what we've seen until we get a clear direction. And again, Jim Cramer, Larry Williams, etc. Now through the middle of October, we kind of expect a general downtrend to see a bottom. So I think we'll expect a lot of chop for the next week and a half or so. So be prepared for that. Be nimble. Be ready to adapt. We're going to see that in all the indices. They all kind of did the same thing, right? They retested the bottom of their channel. Bounced up a little bit. They're sitting, the NASDAQ is sitting below its 20-day SMA. It got hit harder with the yield changes, and there was an exodus from growth. Again, you kind of expect more of the same unless there's an event to change things. Now till the middle of October. The Dow, again, very similar. We see it retest the bottom trend line of its channel, bounce back up. It kind of broke this little downward trend, which is a little more bullish, a little more positive for the Dow, but it's still sitting in the middle of its channel. So again, all of these tell us, hey, expect more choppiness, some up days, some down days, and again, we need to be nimble and adapt. The Russell, again, is just kind of hovering in the middle of its channel, oscillating around its moving average, and again, we expect more of the same. So there are opportunities. You just, again, have to be nimble. If it's an up day, play the up day. If it's a down day, play the down day. Take profits, cash out on the rips, and maybe if there's a value on a red day, then take advantage of the value. Just briefly, at biotech, the biotech indices are IBB and XBI. You can see biotech's just been hammered. They're both pretty much down, although the NYSE biotechs have held up a little bit better in general, and maybe they're making an upturn. But generally, we're staying away from biotechs. If they do have positive news, positive catalysts, they'll spike, but in general, the trend has been down. Look at the VIX, again, we can kind of see, okay, if it was spiking up, but then it has settled down and is in a downtrend. So we'll see if it'll go all the way down to about 16 or so, which was the previous mean, or if it's going to hover around 20 some more. So that's what the indices are showing us right now and how we can play them for next week. Let's look at some market composition, and then we'll dig into what events may impact the markets next week, and we'll look at our watch list. So now I'm in the Markets tab on the online browser version of Webull, and again, you can find our affiliate link to Webull in the description box below. Starting to really rely more on this Markets tab for information even during the day, but it's great, again, to see the composition of the market, the sentiment going into next week. So we can see all the markets were down, more decliners than advancers last week. And another nice feature, I don't think I've shown before, is the inflow into the markets. And we can see that the NASDAQ had market outflow, less inflow as Friday went on. Not so much the New York Stock Exchange, it was pretty much flat. So that's good information as well. If we look at the after hours, the top losers, top gainers, to see if there's any kind of trend. I don't see a strong trend, it's a mixture. If we look at the top gainers after hours, again, kind of a mixture, so individual names generally advancing or declining, probably based on news, earnings reports. Here's the earnings reports calendar, and we're going to talk in more detail that the earnings season is heating up and how we want to play that this earnings season. So then if we go and we look at the best performing industries for the day, obviously energy, oil and gas, top performing transports. We still got supply chain issues, so there's a lot of discussion on transports. We can see, and then a mixture of semiconductors, etc. So another useful thing is to look at the most popular ETFs. We can get a feel for, okay, are people betting up or down on the indices? So we can see, okay, people are betting down on the NASDAQ, or kind of mixed on the Dow. We've got some up, less up, more down. Down on the SPY, so down on the S&P, inflow into SPXU, which is the short on the SPY, and again, inflow into the short on the NASDAQ. So again, people are betting down for the beginning of next week. We can see the industries, ETFs going into the industries, and we can see obviously oil and gas. heavy in energy. Uh, Outflows out of utilities, outflows out of communication, inflows into energy. And we can get a feel for, as I mentioned when we looked at the futures, basic materials. We'll see this in the commodities that palladium and platinum are getting some inflows. And we can see defensives mostly negative, cyclical mostly positive. Again, if we look at the commodities, we can see, okay, there's palladium and platinum had significant inflows. As I mentioned in the futures, we could kind of see the impact of that. It's pushing palladium, platinum, and hopefully that will help some of the other precious metals, gold, silver. We can see coffee, and this is softs, which is it includes cotton, and that is another way to play cotton long. JJS is an ETF long that includes cotton. Finally, just kind of see general Forex, etc. So hopefully that helps give you a feel for, okay, where's the inflows and outflows to the market? Are people betting up or down on the indices? What kind of commodities are getting attention, getting inflows right now? Again, we like this. This is very helpful. Even during the day, you can start to see shifts in sentiment in these different indices, different markets. We tend to watch that with the best performing industries and watch for shifts in that during the day. Will tell us where's the money flowing. So hope that all helps. Let's look at some events. Now let's talk about the economic calendar for next week and some events that might move the markets next week so you can react appropriately. I'm on the economic calendar in investing.com, and I'll put this in a resource or a reference in the description box below. I know we've shown this before, and you can get to this by selecting the news menu item and then economic calendar. And then in this case, I want to look at next week, but during the week you could look at daily or tomorrow or just the current week. And it's a little bit more detailed than the summary that's on the FinBiz homepage. So if you want to see detailed economic events, this is great. One thing to note is even though Monday is Columbus Day in the U.S., and I believe it's Thanksgiving Day in Canada, the U.S. markets are open, although there's no settlement, which means trades won't settle because the banks are closed for Columbus Day, but the markets are open on Monday. We're going to see, and I'll scroll through in just a moment, the details, but we're going to see there's a number of inflation-related data points on Wednesday the 13th and Thursday the 14th. So that may affect, we seeing even hotter inflation, or is it cooling off a little bit? What does that mean for Fed interest rate hikes? Although I personally don't expect a change in their plans for tapering or interest rate hikes. We're going to see oil inventories on Thursday at 11 a.m. and rig counts on Friday at 1 p.m. And that has the potential to impact the oil prices. So if you're playing oil, as we are, I would be focused on those reports and be able to react as to whether that's going to drive oil up or down. So again, we can scroll through some of the details just really quickly. Here's some job data on Tuesday. Get CPI, get the inflation data on Wednesday, and then we're going to get more PPI data on Thursday. So we're going to, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to get a lot of information about the state of inflation. Then at 11, we're going to get crude oil inventories. If inventories are increasing, it may drive the price down. If they're decreasing more than expected, it may drive the price up. So we want to keep an eye on the oil reported. On Friday, we're getting a lot of sentiment information. We get retail sales information, then we get the consumer sentiment information that kind of tells us, okay, going into the holidays, etc., how's the consumer feeling? So that doesn't seem to move the markets as much. I think it gets more news attention, but it doesn't tend to move the markets as much as inflation or energy prices right now is impacting inflation fears and the markets. So hopefully that helps. Keep an eye on those events, be able to react accordingly, and we hope that it helps. Okay, now let's talk about what kind of updates we want to make to our watch list for next week, which is the 11th through the 15th. And I'm on the stocks screen or stocks tab in the online browser version of BeachBum, and I've already made my updates to this watch list, which is the weekly watch list. But you can see videos. We have videos, and I'll reference at least some of them in the description box below about how to create a new watch list, how to maintain the watch list, how to do so from the stock screen in the description box below. First, I wanted to also talk about how do we find, what are some of the additional ways that we find stocks to add to our watch list, because some of the ones for this week we found from the ARK Invest daily trade information. And I'll also put a reference for how you can get that daily trade information from ARK Cathie Wood's ETFs on a daily basis as an email message. And we review that, and in this case, what we saw is we saw that ARK was buying Stratasys, SSYS, which is a 3D printer. So we briefly looked at Stratasys, and it was not in a position that we wanted to put that one on our watch list. But then we said, okay, we have a list of other 3D printers. So as you can see, we built other watch lists in Webull that are thematic. We have one for our ETFs, one for 3D printers, and then one we'll look at in a minute for augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and extended reality. We'll look at that and what's in that. But again, so we saw ARK was buying 3D printers, so we could quickly just scroll through and start looking at the charts for some of the 3D printers. And as you'll see in this case, we found DDD 3D Systems attractive, because you can see it kind of bounced off that support level. It looks like it might be turning back up. We already own and are already long Materialize, MTLS, NNDM, Nano Dimension. We didn't find SGLB attractive, and they were buying Stratasys, and we're already long VJ. So again, quickly whip through those and see which ones we might want to buy. You can see why we weren't terribly interested in chasing Stratasys, even though ARK's buying. But these tend to move in sympathy with one another. So if Stratasys is running up, it may have a tendency to pull some of the others up as well. Especially, ARK's pumping money into 3D printing. That's a good thing. So we will want to add DDD to our watch list, as you'll see. The other one that we picked off of the ARK buys is Boozy, or ARK is buying Boozy. And that's an augmented reality, virtual reality. So as I mentioned, we put together another watch list with augmented reality and virtual reality stocks. And again, we have a video that you can reference as to how to create a new watch list on any theme with any combination of stocks that you want. Which is great. Another feature we love about Webull. Again, if you don't have Webull, use our affiliate link below and get 2 or more free stocks just for using it. So these are the 3 primary augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, extended reality stocks that we watch, and they tend to move in sympathy with one another too. So we didn't particularly like the way Boozy looked. It's been breaking down, even though ARK's been buying it, but we wanted to take a quick look at the other ones. So we looked at Kopin, KOPN. Looked okay, but it seems to be kind of downtrending as well. We looked at EMAN, and we said, this was from Wednesday, Thursday, we saw it was kind of bottoming, and then you'll see late Friday it shot up. So We missed that quick run up. As you'll see, we'll talk about more. We kind of want to see, okay, will it retrace? If it retraces back down to this support level, we'll probably buy it. Otherwise, we'll probably let it go. It's already made its run. There was no news that I saw that triggered that. It just kind of bottomed out and then shot up late on Friday. So again, we put that on the watch list on Friday before market, and along with some of the others we'll point out, including DDD, and we just happened to miss that run up when it happened, and we're not ones to chase. So. Okay, let's talk about some other updates to our watch list. Firstly, we want to congratulate all our fellow BeachBum traders who also profited from the scalp trades this past week on cold and drip. Cold is obviously the short on nat gas, drip is the short on oil. We've seen some spike ups and then some retracements, nice scalping opportunities, nice profit. We posted in the comments of last week's game plan that we are again long drip. We're shorting oil again. We got in at about 506. We're looking for a price target around 12 is the first resistance level if oil drops significantly. Again, oil could retest 80, could go to 100. So, if you get in, you might have to wait. It might take some intestinal fortitude to take a 25% drop, but eventually oil is going to go back down below 80. We're confident of that, and that will reap us a nice profit, so we're happy with our long and drip. We're going to be watching again if nat gas spikes up between 6 and 7 as we discussed. We're going to watch for a dip in cold, less than or around 557. If we see that behavior, we will again go long cold and wait for nat gas to retrace and scalp that again. So this is going to be an ongoing play until oil and gas settle into a new price range. So the next one that we're adding to our watch list is AIRI, A-I-R-I, Air Industries Group. We'll look at the chart in a second. We are also doing a due diligence dive into AIRI that you'll see coming out soon. A number of these you'll see were posted in an update to last week's and a comment on last week's game plan where we updated our watch list. So again, this week, please keep an eye on the comments if we make any changes to the watch list, and or if we buy or sell anything, we'll add that to the comments to the game plan. So just to briefly whip through some of these, here's AIRI. You can see really we're kind of looking at something around 1. AIRI's a low float. Again, you'll see the due diligence video. They're into jets, airplane parts and maintenance, both defense contractors and commercial airlines. It is low float. It tends to spike on news, and otherwise it kind of just sits around 1-ish. So we're going to be looking at AIRI. We talked about DDD. We talked about that we're going to keep drip and cold on the watch list and scalp those. We talked about E-Man. That's the AR/VR play. We'll leave FCAP on there for now. We may take it off. It's just chops around and hasn't really trended anywhere. We'll leave FANG D. That's the short on the FANG stocks. We'll kind of wait for support around 210. It hasn't really reached that. It's just kind of been hovering in the middle. But we'll leave it out there for now. Another one that we just released a due diligence video on today was Tatron Electronics. And again, you can go see that due diligence video just released today. And they do semiconductors, electronic components. And we also discovered that they pay a dividend, and it looks like their dividend may be growing. So again, you can see in that due diligence video why our reasoning behind that, but you can see it also looks like it hit our support, hit one of our screeners because it looks like it went down to support, was turning up, which is again the behavior that we tend to like. So we're adding Tate to our watch list. We're looking for something, around the 4-ish level, but we're looking more at the behavior of that stock. It looks like a good buy. Again, it pays a dividend, 4%, greater than inflation. We're going to leave UVXY. We're going to watch to see if the VIX retraces towards that 16 level. We still have our position on SVXY for VIX spike out to 28-ish. So if it does spike, we've got a buy out there on SVXY that we'll just kind of leave there. If it does bottom, the VIX bottoms around 16-ish, we may go long the VIX and wait for it to spike above 20 and profit on both sides of the VIX. So we'll be scalping the VIX going forward. BOO is just a very long-term buy on the S&P. If it just happens to bottom around 390-ish, we'll make a larger investment long on the S&P, but it's just been hovering in the middle and hasn't really bottomed yet. So those are our current updates to the watch list. Again, if we make any changes, we will post them in the comments to this game plan, in the comments below. Please give us feedback if that works for you. Monitoring the comments to the game plans for watchlist updates and buy and sell updates. You can see we also have our Twitter account, which is BeachBum Trading without the U. We do post some buy and sell information out there. But please let us know what's the most efficient way for us to communicate changes to the watch list, buy and sell alerts to you. We want to help you succeed in your trading, profit in your trading. And if you let us know how we can best do that, we'll do what we can to facilitate that. So good luck. Have a great trading week.
We hope that you like our weekly game plan for the trading week for this week. Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you found this helpful, we hope that you will choose to subscribe to our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel, and please click the bell icon below to automatically be notified whenever we publish a new video. Please also share this with your fellow traders and friends via the share button included below. And let us know if you found our weekly game plans helpful in the comments included below. And let us know how we can improve. What would you like to see more, less of, etc. Thank you again for watching. Good luck and have a great trading week. Bye.